This session is focused on how to do business in Pakistan more intelligently using knowledge management and human capital development. Some of the business functions and tools and methodologies to do business intelligently. We are pleased to have with us this morning to preside over the session Mr. Aftab Ahmed, who is the CEO of Century Paper and Board Mills. Mr. Aftab Ahmed professionally is a mechanical engineer. He obtained his degree in mechanical engineering with a gold medal in production engineering. He started his career in 1967 from packages. Later on, he also worked in the petroleum and textile sector. He is associated with Century Paper and Board since 1984. And in fact, he has led the Century Paper and Board to new heights. And the present level of Century Paper and Board, where you can call this company an organization as one of the largest paper and pulp mill of Pakistan. And let me add here, Century Paper and Board is part of the Lexer group of companies of Pakistan. And in fact, let me acknowledge that this group of companies of Pakistan and their chairman, Mr. Iqbal Lakhani, along with Mr. Aftab and some of other managers, he flew from Karachi to be more aware of knowledge management way back in 2002, when knowledge management was not that much familiar in Pakistan. That shows the association of this group of companies and their manager and chief executive, in fact the chairman, towards this new and emerging business function, how to make businesses intelligent. Mr. Aftab Ahmed and we take pride that Century Paper is the most modern paper mill in Asia. And ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Aftab, and we would like to hear his ideas and thoughts and experiences and skill set and mindset towards knowledge management and human capital development. Please welcome Mr. Aftab. We have two presenters, ladies and gentlemen, this morning. Thank you very much, Aftab sir. These two presenters are also expert in the field of knowledge management and human capital development. They are both based in Lahore, but they are well traveled across Asia and throughout the world. The first presenter would be Mr. Irfan Farooqi, who has 25 years of professional experience in the fields of supply chain, quality management and knowledge management. He completed his Master of Business Education from Punjab University and is currently working as Senior Manager in Century Paper and Board, which is again a Lexer group of companies. Irfan Farooqi is not only a business professional, but is very well identified in teaching and learning activities. And in fact, he came to interact with me also in one of these learning sessions under Pakistan Institute of Management, again way back 7-8 years. His interest in learning is clearly evident from the certification he has, which he has acquired during his professional career. To name some of his learning achievements, please note MBA TQM from University of Management and Technology, Certified Quality Professional from PIQC, Lead Auditor of ISO 9001 Quality Management Systems from Singapore, Six Sigma Black Belt from Singapore, Certificate in Total Productive Maintenance, TPM, which is known from UK, and Certified Manager of Quality from American Society of Quality, USA. In recognition of Mr. Irfan Farooqi's services to the field of quality, American Society for Quality has appointed Mr. Irfan Farooqi as their country consular for Pakistan. After studying knowledge management from UMT, He was given additional assignment to implement knowledge management in less than group of companies. Please welcome Mr. Irfan Farooqi as one of the presenters. Our second presenter this morning, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Sohail Rizvi. He has done his MS in Human Resource Management from University of Southern California, an MBA from Pacific State University in California. He has more than 22 years of experience, including 14 years of experience working in the USA. His area of expertise include organization and people development, and that would also indicate how organizational development and people development is associated with knowledge management and human capital development. He has been working at University of Management Technology as a faculty member, and presently he is associated with Bank Al Falah, which is one of the leading innovative bank in Pakistani banking sector, and Mr. Sohail Rizvi is heading training and development at Bank Al Falah. Please welcome Mr. Sohail Rizvi. So I think you can realize this morning is going to be quite innovative and dynamic, so we can be exposed to this new area of management. As we were listening to Mr. Malik this morning, how can we manage businesses in the best way possible. And if I take just few minutes to expose to the area and to set the scene, and then I will invite the presenters. If I can look at the next slide. Next slide, please. I think you will agree with me that these are the trends which we are encountering presently in 21st century. And you better be ready that these trends are going to be with us. It depends how we individually or at the organization level as a manager, we get ready to face these current waves of trends and how we can ride on these trends. The first trend is the technology, and you can see very well, especially in the telecom sector, that how this trend is forcing you to keep on changing your mobile phones and mobile tunes. And notice how telecom sector is providing the connectivity with so cheap a rate, like Zong is calling 5 rupees a day. It is going to stay with us and opening new areas of social networking, sharing of knowledge, sharing of ideas, again to become more innovative in whatever area we are doing. A lot of information is available on internet for free. It depends how can you harness this information for your company or for your life at the individual level or organization level. Globalization is going to stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. It is the globalization of markets, it's the globalization of products, it is the globalization of services, and let's not forget the culture. Along with technology, culture is going to stay with it. You better take pride in it when you are facing and interacting with different cultures, how you present your products and services and compete at the global level. Next slide. This means the challenges for businesses in Pakistan, constantly changing business environment, severe competition from the global players, and of course, let's not forget the China factor. It is going to stay. It depends how are we going to get the competitive edge. Next slide. One of the solutions could be that the companies could develop a knowledge edge. And those of you associated with brands, you would recall that brand is nothing more than the knowledge associated along with the product or the service. So the question is, if you want to develop knowledge edge at the companies, for individuals, for people, for employees, or for the products and services, the only way could be that you convert the data about your product and services and the company and the people into dollars. You transform information into the intelligence, and you convert the brain power into business opportunities. And of course, you will hear in a minute how can you convert
the tacit knowledge in your heads, in the heads of the managers, in the heads of the people, into tangible assets. So they can be shown on the balance sheet, may it be the financial balance sheet or the intellectual balance sheet of the company. Next slide. Of course, companies have to use systems, database system or the information-oriented systems. You can call them CRM or supply chain systems, but please notice that the value addition point is beyond the information when you involve the experience and the skill set of the people. That is where you start adding value into the company. It converts into the personal capital first, and then it depends on the company how they can convert this individual human capital into the organizational collective capital. And together it is known as the intellectual capital of the company. And if you notice Microsoft, if you notice IBM, if you notice Apple, so many companies like that, and you realize what is the level of their intellectual capital and the market value of their company. And the market value, higher the market value will tell you, higher will be the intellectual capital of that company. Next slide. 80% is the tacit knowledge hidden in the heads and the hearts of the people. And what is exposed in the documents, procedures, processes is only 20%. Ladies and gentlemen, knowledge is the human capacity. It is the potential and ability of the human to take an effective action in those uncertain situations of the markets and the customers. And knowledge management is nothing more than an art. Of course, it's a science when you speak of systems, but it's more than science. It's an art of creating value from an organization's intangible assets. And those intangible assets, ladies and gentlemen, are their knowledge in the people's, humans, staffs, hands, heads, and the hearts. And how can you harness all these 3 H for organization is that's where you manage the knowledge, and knowledge management comes in. So the goal is to improve the organizational effectiveness through individual effectiveness. That's why you bring in the human capital. And the mean is, of course, using intellectual specialization, and of course the tool will be information and communication technology. That's why we see this mega trend that information and communication technology is becoming cheaper every day and is available in cities and not so big cities. But then how the organizations in Pakistan would use it at the individual and collective level. And of course the end is to have those rational processes for identifying new opportunities, more wealth, higher innovation, and continuous improvement, so that we can sustain the market pressures. This is the slide I have taken from a research paper from Professor Bontis in Canada, who is one of the leading authority on intellectual capital and human performance. And he tells us that if you're looking for human performance or organizational performance, there are 3 capitals you have to worry about. One is the structural capital of the organization, its processes, its systems, its documents. And second is the relational capital, social capital with customers, with suppliers, with vendors. But to drive this relational capital and structural capital is the staff or the human capital in the organization. So in other words, intellectual capital is based and driven solely at the roots by human capital. That's why this session is focusing on human capital management and development and knowledge management. And again, these 3 capitals have to be put together to take an effective organization and an edge in the market. And with this, next slide, I would like to invite the first presenter that how can we manage our knowledge and how can we manage and develop the human capital so that we can sustain the competitive edge in the markets, tough markets, severe competition in the business organizations of Pakistan. And the first presenter, ladies and gentlemen, today, with his experience in knowledge management, in quality management, in supply chain management, where the information flows one way and the product and service flows in the opposite way, is Mr. Irfan Farooqi. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Mr. Irfan Farooqi.